Hey guys, JoBus34 back again with the latest video of, or review video I should say, of Back to the Future Marty McFly with Einstein this time, the re-release. And I've heard some issues with the artwork they chose to use because it shows him with his sunglasses, which this version doesn't come with. But it does pretty much come with everything else. So when you open the box, it comes with this nice little insert in there showing the time machine. I have no problem with them showing this one because it does appear at the end of the film with the key dates here, right? And there he is. Let's take this lid off. And there he is, Marty McFly. New and improved from what I've heard, but we'll see. I'll be the judge of that a little bit for this review for you guys and see what I think once I have everything open and displayed. So let's get to it. I'm going to take this out of the box and set them up. Alright, so here we have Marty all set up. As you can see here on the turntable, so you can kind of get to see him from different angles. And I will say that out of the box, strictly just a quick museum pose, he definitely shows signs of being, having improvement over the first release. The head sculpt is pretty good. I don't typically think the old one was so bad either. I had both, and I do see differences. The hair, especially, a little bit of maybe the facial expression. But I don't know. I could see good in both. I don't think this is drastically better, but it is in hand. I would say it is better overall. The clothing and the feel of the figure is a little different. A little better than I think what we had previously. Obviously, not much difference as far as accessories go. I mean, he still comes with the camera here, which I'll show. All right, there's the JVC camera, which obviously we know it's JVC, even though they don't put the logo on it. Typical 80s VHS recorder, or VCR, however you want to call it. It's very detailed, just like the old one. Comes with the, still to save the clock tower flyer. And the very interesting thing with this one, I don't remember if the old one has. This one shows the "I love you" and the phone number that she wrote. His girlfriend wrote for him in the original, and he reads that after he flips it over. But he saves this and he folds it up, right, and he keeps it with him. That later comes into play with Doc, so that they know when the lightning's going to strike. And then this one comes with Einstein the dog, obviously, as everybody knows. And then, of course, his skateboard that I have Einstein sitting on at the moment. Skateboard is pretty cool. Again, it's pretty... I know there was another video I was watching where they pointed out the weathering on the wheels, and that is kind of a nice touch that you could see there. So it looks like there's some wear and tear that he's used this skateboard that we know he does, and he kind of puts them on cars and stuff so he can go faster when he tailgates a car and hangs onto the bumper, as we saw in the movie. And of course, here is Einstein. Einstein is pretty cool. It's basically a statue. Coloring is good. Looks definitely like who he is, and it would look good sitting in the DeLorean if they re-release that, which I have to suspect they're going to release something, since they've shown a lot of pictures, promotional pictures of the different versions of Marty and Doc they're coming out with, like the Wild Wild West. And you see the bigger white wall tires that they had in part 3. I would imagine they're going to do something. So we'll see soon what happens with that. But the one complaint that everybody's had, and I know I've heard it to death, about this part of the sculpt right here, that kind of looks weird. I guess it's supposed to look like hair coming off. And the whole point of it was that so that there's some articulation. You could turn his head. And I do tend to agree that it's not necessary. I think they could have just... continued down with the same pattern, not done that, and then not have the dog have to move at all. I mean, the dog is basically just a statue. It's an accessory, you didn't need to try to make it articulate. But, other than that, I actually like the dog, and I do like it better in person. I think it's fine. Give it a biscuit. But it's a nice accessory, definitely. Wrong character. As we know, Einstein is Doc's dog, so not sure why they included him with Marty. But obviously Doc's going to come with a ton of stuff, so I guess they figured they'd throw this in instead of his obviously needed sunglasses, if you want to mimic the poster, which is not included with this one for some strange reason. And then, of course, the guitar, which many of others have mentioned as well, because the guitar was an exclusive. So no exclusive this time. I'm sure you can find them on eBay or maybe find equivalent things for stand-ins as far as the sunglasses and the guitar, as well as maybe just, getting parted out pieces from the first one, maybe if you're lucky. There'll be other, I know I think there's like another bootleg one of him coming out too that has those pieces. So whatever you got to do to get those parts if you really want the sunglasses and a guitar. Personally, right now, I don't really care. I don't really display him. The last time I had him, I displayed the sunglasses sitting on his head, kind of like the way it is on the poster. But honestly, him wearing the sunglasses is not a big part of the movie. So I'm not worried that he doesn't have sunglasses. And as far as this goes, somebody else mentioned that, he may get the clock that Doc Brown put around his neck, right, when he sent him through time. So maybe that'll cover this up. But obviously, this is an easy mod, obviously. It's not something I'm too worried about. I can, you could do something about this or sand this down or maybe kind of put some Sculpey over it and kind of blend it in and paint over it so that you don't see that anymore. But at the end of the day, I'm not really too worried about it. So this is Marty. I usually try to come up with a pose that, last time was a little more challenging with the extra parts to actually come up with a pose that incorporated every single item, and I did it. This time I'll have to figure out, there's his book bag, obviously the knapsack that came with the first one, pretty much the same deal there. Sneakers, socks, jeans. The jeans are a slightly different color in this one. They're not the same color as the jacket, but the blue on the darker blue on the jacket is a different tone, right, than the lighter washed out. And then the jeans are in between those two colors. So definitely not matching up like the old figure. The old figure, I believe, had the lighter jeans, right, that matches the jeans on the jacket. And there's been other reviewers that have pointed that out. So again, they did go back and I guess they touched up some things that they felt were needed. I also understand that the life jacket now, it is a different material. It does feel different than the first one, and it's puffier. So be careful with the headphones too. The headphones he wears around his neck there, the wire came right off that goes into the Walkman. Nothing a little smidgen pinch of crazy glue didn't fix on this side, on the left side right there, or our left. But within seconds it was fixed. Not a big deal. But just be careful when you try to put that on him, because that one speaker wire on this side right here just kind of snapped right off of it. So I had to glue it back real quick. But it was a real easy fix, so I'm not complaining. And the other weird thing I'm going to show you guys here, his stand is old school and came with this, which, very odd choice. I mean, I guess you can work it in, hide under his life preserver jacket there, his vest, and his jean jacket, but why? So I swapped it out with one of the typical crotch grabbers. I do have extra stands and pieces for these, so I quickly fixed that. There was no way I was using this. So I'll save this for another figure that maybe can utilize this better, but not sure what they were thinking there. So I personally recommend just getting, swapping out that part of the stand and just put a crotch grabber in there instead. A lot easier to work with. I mean, granted, you could see it, and I guess this would be less noticeable if you want to work it in, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. So let's try a different pose, and I'll try to see if I can incorporate the rest of the accessories with them and see what we could do here. All right, so this is another pose I'm trying out here, where he's holding the camera, kind of in disbelief, and I have his foot resting on his skateboard here. Obviously, you could do this whether it's rotating or not, but for the sake of seeing other angles. So this is kind of his... when he's filming and he doesn't believe what he's filming moment in the film. See if I can move the lights over slightly so you can kind of get a better look here. So, looks pretty good. And again, there's Einstein watching. So another look that you can go for, him reading the I love you message from his girlfriend, holding the Save the Clock Tower flyer. So, I mean, there's a lot of options here. A lot of different things you can do. So now I'm going to try to go for my, I've incorporated everything look. Here we go. All right, and this is kind of similar to what I had originally with my first Marty. The only difference is that he doesn't have the guitar on his back, and he doesn't have the sunglasses on top of his head. But this is pretty close, and this is probably the most satisfying look that I would do. Like I said, very close. I'm incorporating the stand, the skateboard, the book bag with the same hand that he's holding the Save the Clock Tower flyer, obviously the VHS camcorder, and obviously him himself. And then there's Einstein still off on the side. Again, I think Einstein's great. I just think he should have came with Doc instead of Marty, and I guess they were just trying to give us something different. I mean, there is a scene in the mall where he meets up and he sees Einstein and he's with Einstein, but ultimately Einstein is Doc Brown's dog. So, is it a misstep? I don't know. I guess it's intended technically to be a 2-pack, which they probably should have just sold these two as a 2-pack. We have to wait so much longer for Doc, but once we have Doc, and hopefully maybe another DeLorean release, that'll make everything kind of connect and everything work. So, but we have a long wait for Doc, so we'll have to see what happens there. But anyway, in the meantime, for you Marty lovers and Back to the Future lovers, he is here, he is out and available, and I think he's great. And I think, if you don't have the first one, this is a no-brainer, which I no longer have the first one. But if you have the first one, is it better enough to rebuy? I guess that's up to you. If you like the clothing better, I mean, there is differences. The sculpt is technically better, even though I'm not a complainer of the old one that much. The big difference is really Einstein, and if you don't care about Einstein, then that makes your decision even easier. But I mean, overall, it is an upgraded figure, minus missing a couple of accessories. And the tailoring is better. The color schemes, the clothing seems to be better. The little subtlenesses are still there, with the watch that you put on his wrist there. He's got his little pin on his jacket there that you can't really see right now, but you can see his pin on the dungaree jacket, the denim jacket. The coloring seems to be better between the jeans and the jacket. It seems to be more accurate now. He's got the suspenders and the white shirt if you want to go for that look and take the jackets off. Overall, it's a great figure. And, considering I don't have the original one anymore, for me, this was a no-brainer. So there you go, guys. Quick review. I'll be back, obviously, to review when they release Doc Brown. I also have the Part 3 Doc and Marty on pre-order, too, for the Wild Wild West looks. Even though that was my least favorite sequel, that is a cool looking set as far as their clothing. The figure the figures look really nice with that Wild West style. So those should make for cool looking figures, regardless of what you think of the sequel. And I'm looking forward to having those as well. I do have my Part 2 Marty. I never really opened it and reviewed it or anything. And I'll at some point display that too. Just give us a Biff or a Griff or maybe some of the other characters that would be really nice to kind of round out this collection. So in the meantime, guys, that's it for me. Job is 34. Till next time, peace out.